welcome to today's lighting breakdown. My name is Onili Manuel, and today we'll be looking at how I created this amazing portrait using a paper backdrop and 3 light setup. I will be using a Godox AD600, Godox AD200, and a Godox V1 for my light setup. I shot these images and they looked amazing straight out of the camera. And so let's get into the lighting breakdown. So today I'm going to show you guys how I lit this image right here. I'm going to show you guys how the whole lighting process, my light setup, and also this is going to be a 2-part video. The first part is going to be for the light setup, and the second part I'm going to show you guys how I retouched and color graded this image using Lightroom and Capture One. So this is the image right here. I'm going to show you guys the before. Let me get my Lightroom. So this is the image right here, and yep, this is the before resets. So this is the before and this is the after of the image. So I'm going to show you guys how I lit all these images right here. These same light setup, these, and the final image, which is this. And in my next video, I'm going to show you guys how I edited and retouched this image using Lightroom and also Photoshop. So for this image, I used a 3 light setup. I'm just going to create a new empty layer right here. Get my brush tool. So I used the 3 light setup. Excluding this, I did not make use of this light. I used the parabolic umbrella here and this strip box right here, and also an optical snoot right here, where you can see on this image the optical snoots gave this radial effects on the subjects, and also here on this image. So my key light was the optical snoots right here, and I positioned it towards my left side here above this level, towards here, directing towards the model 95 degrees. So the optical snoots was my main light, and then for the parabolic umbrella, this was my fuel light right here, and the strip light was to create these highlights at the side of the model. Right, let me create a new layer. These highlights here at the side of my subject. Before I get into my light setup, I use the Canon Z6 II to shoot this image right here with a 24 to 70 mm f2.8 lens, and my camera settings are always very basic. I tweak my ISO a bit, so I shoot with a 125 ISO, aperture of f2.8, and then for my shutter speed 1/125. So that was the setting I used for this image, and I did not change that all through this session. So for my key light was a snoot, optical snoot, which came from this direction, and the key light was the Godox AD200. That was my key light, Godox AD200, coming from this direction and pointing towards my subject and giving this radial effect on my subject. Then for my fuel light, which is the parabolic umbrella, this is a 180 cm parabolic umbrella right here. It was a fuel light. I used a Godox AD600 for this, and you can see the effects of the fuel lights right here. The fuel light just brightened the whole of this area of this image. And if you look at this other image right here, I did not use the fuel light because this was what I wanted to achieve shooting the subject. I only used 2 lights for this image, which was the optical snoot and the strip box from this direction right here, which gave this little highlight here and here and here, and on the face of the subjects around here. So that was what I used for this 2 light setup. Then for this was when I introduced the field lights, the AD600 on the parabolic umbrella. So I used for my key light settings here, for my key light setting, which was the optical snoot, creating this radial effects here. Like I said, I used the AD600 and I shot it on, let me undo this. Then this was my key light up here, coming from this direction, AD200. But that's AD200. And the settings for my key light was 1/32, which created this radial effect. Then for my fill lights, which was a parabolic umbrella, for the fill light, I feathered it away from the subject, not hitting directly on the subject, which created these soft lights that was faded away, these highlights here, and also lighting the face of the model a bit. Because of the introduction of the fill lights, it made the image look softer compared to this image right here. You can see this had a lot of contrast in it, while this with the fill lights made it a little bit softer. And this was what I wanted achieving at the end of the shoot. So for my fill lights with the AD600, my settings for the fill lights was on 1/64. 1/64, that was my settings for the fill light. Then for my strip lights, which was these, I used a Godox V1 here and mounted it on the strip box. Then the settings for this two was 1/64. So that was the settings for this. And as you can see, like I said, it created this soft, let me zoom in right here. It created these soft highlights at the side of the model here. These highlights here, the highlights here, the highlights here too. So it just helps separate my subjects from the backdrop right here. And then talking about my backdrop, I used a pepper backdrop for this shoot, a brown pepper backdrop for this shoot. And my subjects was 3 to 4 feet away from the backdrop to give it this, to blow out the backdrop and make the focus be on my model. Why I also feathered my parabolic umbrella right here is to take the light away from the backdrop, because I wanted the backdrop, just like this image, to be darker, not to bring in lights to the backdrop. As you can see here, the light is more on my subjects, separating my subjects from the backdrop here. So this is just a simple light setup I did for this shoot. And for this video, this is just going to be the part one. Like I said, in my next part, I'm going to show you guys how I edited this image and got to the final image right here, how I color graded it, how I retouched it, and got to this final image. So that's it, guys. This is a 3-light simple setup. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section and I'll be glad to answer your questions. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for joining me today, and see you guys in the next video.